We shall fight in the field.
Mit der Akzeptanz der
C'est pas parce que les
vier
Britanniques
Grundfreiheiten und dazu gehört
ont
auch
décidé
die
de sortir qu'ils ne doivent pas
Freizügigkeit
être
der
associés à ce
Personen.
processus.
Brexit means Brexit.
Hello and welcome to another Brexitometer brought to you by the Martin Center. This is a very special Brexitometer, as perhaps you can tell by my surroundings. This Brexitometer is coming to you from the Greek island of Sifnos, where my family is from and where I am here for a holiday of a few weeks. So this is a special summer Brexitometer, and it's even more special because we are recording actually on the day right after the Euro 2020 final between England and Italy, where of course England lost on penalties. It is a Brexitometer that is coming to you amidst the great decision of Boris Johnson to have the great reopening of a British economy and British society, moving away from lockdowns. A big gamble by Boris Johnson, but hey, that's Boris Johnson taking bets and gambles throughout the pandemic. So this is a very strange situation this summer. It's a bit of a combination of normality and crisis, normality and exceptionalism, football, pandemic, quarantines, ending of quarantines. We don't really know how British tourists still will be able to travel around Europe. As we enjoy the great sun of the Aegean, let's go see what life is like on the intersection of the UK and Europe. First, of course, the football. As most of you probably know by the time you watch this, England tragically lost the final to Italy in Wembley on penalties. I would argue that that's actually a great sign of return to normality. So England losing in penalties in Wembley Stadium in front of 60,000 people, everyone chanting it's coming home, and Gareth Southgate was there. It was basically 1996 all over again. The only thing we were missing was basically Oasis singing in the stands or something like that. Of course, this was a very, very difficult defeat for England, no doubt about it. But from a Brexit perspective, meaning from our perspective, I wonder if this actually has some positive connotations moving forward. Let's just remind ourselves where England was 5 years ago in the previous Euro 2016, when it actually lost to Iceland, one of the most embarrassing defeats England has ever suffered. And if you remember, the defeat came just a few days after the Brexit referendum. And of course, it was the first great opportunity for the rest of Europe to mock England, Britain, for the choice it made to step out of Europe. Now, fast forward 5 years on, and I would say this England team actually generates some more feelings of sympathy. Gareth Southgate is actually a very, very likable figure. Here in Greece, as far as I can tell, most fans actually supported England, not Italy, to win the final. Wembley was a great venue for the first post-pandemic tournament to take place. And I would say that England became even more likable because it did not win. We know that if England won, the Boris Johnson government would have milked this success to death. Instead, by actually not winning, the European fans can actually like England a bit more. It's the tragic greatness of defeat. And also, we should not forget that this England team represents the new diverse face of British society. So perhaps there's a silver lining in this major defeat of England. Perhaps it has shown that there is a way for England and Europe to start liking each other again. That's something we can take, something positive we can take from Euro 2020. But enough with the football, let's talk about the other major topic in every British person's mind in July and August, their holidays. Traveling has actually been one of the major topics of conversation in the UK ever since the pandemic began. And the Boris Johnson government just doesn't seem to be able to get the balance right. Oftentimes it's being accused of actually not securing the borders at all. The UK for lots of time, many months, did not have a proper quarantine system. We now see how it essentially allowed the Delta variant to travel into the UK almost unhindered. On the other hand, it's being accused by many of creating unnecessary hurdles for traveling and for the tourist industry. Currently, the words in everyone's mouth in the UK as they try to plan their holidays is which destinations are going to be in the so-called green and the so-called amber list. And this determines whether people have to pay for testing and they have to quarantine on their way back from holiday. It's essentially a cat and mouse game where the government changes the designations of green and amber destinations, and then people try to make their holiday choices accordingly. I'm in Greece currently, and of course I just hope that by the time I will return to the UK, Greece will have returned to the green list and I will be able to avoid some quarantine or some testing and so forth. Of course, there's also an additional problem, and that's where Brexit rears its head, because we Europeans, even us Europeans who live permanently in the UK, have to face now more bothersome controls and checks at the border, since we no longer have the rights of EU citizens. One topic where this thing actually appears is the question of vaccines. The government recently announced that fully vaccinated Brits will be able to return to the UK without having to do quarantine. But what happens to many people who live in the UK, both Brits and Europeans, who actually have been vaccinated in other countries? I have been vaccinated in Greece, but apparently the NHS, the National Health Service, will not be able to recognize my vaccination just yet. So the pandemic, quarantines, trying to exit quarantines, and Brexit create all these weird combinations. As always in the UK, traveling is a very, very complicated matter, and we will have to wait and see how this unfolds by the end of the summer. So those of us who've been away from the UK for a while will return to quite a different country. I've been away from the UK for months, don't worry, I haven't been in Sifnos for months having holidays. I have been traveling around for some work as well. But in any case, when I return to the UK in early August, I will find a very, very different country to the one I left back in spring. And the reason, of course, is that the British government has decided to move really hard and really fast towards ending all lockdown restrictions and returning life and the economy back to normal. There is a very, very good reason for that, in the case of the UK at least, which is that the UK has the most advanced vaccine program in the world, I would say, given its size and given the complexity of its economy and society. There is a very, very good argument to be made that with so many people vaccinated in the UK, the time has come for the population and society to learn to live with the virus. And to be fair to the Boris Johnson government, that's kind of the attitude that most other advanced economies currently have. We see a slow increase in cases as the economy opens up in most other parts of Europe as well currently. So the mindset is pretty much the same everywhere. We have to slowly learn to live with the virus because the vaccines provide a certain protection against the huge increase in hospitalizations and deaths. The problem with the British attitude is, of course, that all of this is hugely politicized. You know, Boris Johnson, of course, in his usual bravado, calls it the Great Reopening, and he tries to satisfy the right wing of his Conservative Party, which is also, of course, the very pro-Brexit wing of his party, about who have always been anti-lockdown, that this is now the end of lockdowns, this is now the true return to normality. The point, though, is that scientists in the UK are not in full agreement that things will work out as smoothly. Yes, vaccines provide protection, but there's always the question of new variants, and there's always the question of, with a huge increase in cases, still we may see more deaths. And this is a very, very gruesome calculation for any government to make. What is the trade-off between opening up the economy and an inevitable increase in deaths? Once again, the UK is at the forefront of a major experiment, I would say. I would say that throughout this pandemic, usually where the UK goes is usually where other countries slowly follow as well. So we should follow the example of the UK now with a great reopening, because once again, the UK may provide glimpses for the future for the rest of Europe as well. So that was another episode of the Brexitometer, a very special summer Brexitometer. Looking back at it, I think I should have done this more in the past. You know, a nice sunny Brexitometer in the island of Sifnos, which I recommend all of you to visit when you can. And if you do, you know, you can shoot me up on social media using the hashtag Brexitometer or just my name. And who knows, maybe I'm here and we'll be able to discuss Brexit over some nice Greek salad or some ouzo by the beach. Okay, enough with the Greek holiday stereotyping. Brexit, of course, is still happening. Brexit is always a reality. I just decided this month not to discuss about the nitty-gritty bureaucratic stuff of Brexit, the Northern Ireland Protocol, the so-called sausage wars about you know, whether chilled meat will be able to move between the rest of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I think we will have enough time to discuss these things when I'm back in London. However, what I wanted to show with this episode was that life does go on. We have football, we have holidays, people in the sun, but also people trying to navigate this new world in between crisis and normality, getting yourself tested before going on holiday, trying to negotiate quarantines, trying to negotiate your vaccinations before you head off. We're all heading into a new world in September where one way or the other we're gonna have to slowly settle on a new normality. Who knows what that will look like, but the one thing certain is that Brexit will be part of that normality and will inform that normality in the UK. Until next time, take care. You can always send me your questions as usual. Try to get yourself vaccinated if you haven't, and make sure you enjoy the rest of your summer holidays. If you're coming to the Cycladic Islands, again, make sure you let me know. Take care.
We shall fight in the field.
Mit der Akzeptanz der
C'est
pas parce que les
vier
Britanniques
Grundfreiheiten und dazu gehört
ont
auch
décidé de
die
sortir qu'ils ne doivent pas
Freizügigkeit
être
der
associés à ce
Person.
processus.
Brexit means Brexit.